The SherryBrener Classical Guitar Store has graced the entrance of 224 South Michigan Avenue for 25 years. Many consider it a unique introduction to the historic Santa Fe building and the gateway to Symphony Hall. In this day and age when national brand stores seem to be taking over every corner, it is rare that a local retail shop can compete. Until recently, this distinctive music shop did just that. However, its days are numbered. They have not been given the opportunity to renew their lease at an affordable rate, and unless circumstances change, they will be closing their doors in July. James Sherry, proprietor of the SherryBrener Classical Guitar Store, reflects on the birth of his establishment.
It took us 4.5 months of hard work to build the store. And the owner of the Santa Fe Railroad and his staff came down to see what took so long. He said, "This is worth it, what you've done." He said, "It looks like," he said, "I spent a long time in England, and they have the Bond Street in London, where I've been. There's some beautiful stores." He says, "You've copied it." I said, "Most of my business that we do now is with conventions, the people who live downtown, and people from Hyde Park, and so forth." And I said, "The Chicago Symphony depends on us for strings and repairs and things like that, and so forth." Now, this is the oldest store in the atrium, and all the others failed. So I thought I'd always be here because I always paid my rent for 25 years. I never asked for anything.
Longtime employee Amy Foley shares why musicians seek out this store.
For Jim's expertise, I would say primarily for guitar. He's known far and wide to be an expert on classical guitar, and he sold to the most famous player of the last century. He sold to Segovia and Parkman, and he was just part of that whole scene.
To help keep the music alive, Jim talks about how he is assisting novice musicians.
We can have these teachers, these great teachers, bring their best students to you, and they can audition. And if they're worthy of it, they can use a violin which they couldn't afford for a year. And then, at the end of the year, the only thing they're going to pay is insurance, which is nothing. At the end of the year, if they wanted, they could buy it at possibly what I paid for it.
Jim reacts to the recent news his lease will not be renewed at an affordable rate.
Thinking, what am I going to do? That I've been here 25 years, and every morning I was here 25 years, sometimes 7 days a week. This was my life here.
I asked Jim if he would consider other alternatives to help keep the store open.
I wouldn't refuse a grant, to be honest with you, but I don't even know how to get one. Maybe somebody can tell me how to do this.
Be a sensitive question, but some would say you're in your twilight years at 80 years old. Why not just close the store and enjoy your retirement?
This is my life. I can go anywhere in the world I want right now and do anything I want, and this is it.
Amy shares what Chicago would lose if SherryBrener closes.
It would just lose the culture of it, the reminder of things past and things that should still be part of the present.
If you're like many of us, you've walked by the SherryBrener Classical Guitar Store 100 times and admired the beautiful instruments in its window. Like its neighbors, the CSO and the Chicago Architecture Foundation, this store contributes to the cultural life of this great city. A few months have passed since we first interviewed Jim and Amy, and there's good news to report. Mr. Sherry and the landlord have come to an agreement on lease terms. Therefore, the city can enjoy this iconic store for a few years longer. So if you are a practicing musician, or just a musician at heart, be sure and stop by the SherryBrener Classical Guitar Store and take advantage of the expertise of its owner and employees.